Wow. So right now it's in the early part of May 2020, coming out of kind of a massive 6 to 8 week isolation. There's been a lot of people, especially in the United States, who have been struggling severely with lack of income. Now there's some stimulus things going on and those kind of things. So there's been a lot of people that have reached out. Char, I have no idea what to do for my son, my daughter. I'm in a situation where I have a limited amount of cash flow or a limited amount of cash and savings. I have no idea what to do. Now, whether or not that's your situation or somebody you know, here's what we do know. The world has never been set up better for having opportunity to create income. Unlike a typical recession or even a depression, right now there is jobs available, and there's so many thousands of different, well, I would even say tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of different ways to make money, as opposed to, let's say, 100 years ago, that the goal of today's health, wealth, and happiness training is to, for some, provide hope, for others to say, oh my gosh, I had no idea that was available. And for others to say, you know what I'm doing right now, a couple people have reached out on this in the last couple weeks, what I'm doing right now in the line that I have a lot of time to reflect on things isn't what I want to do for the future. So today's training is really critical for many people in terms of mindset, training, and tactics for going after bigger ambition. And of course, from the way I teach, making sure that you feel some sense of, I'm doing good stuff in the world. I like to qualify that as being purposeful. So no matter where you're at or the people you know, care for, love, serve, I just want to be real with the sense that there is a lot of opportunity, but on the other side, it requires having a certain kind of mindset. So I hope you really enjoy this training, this particular mastery training, entitled 10 Ways to Create Purposeful Income Right Now. These are just some of the ways that I've discovered that I'm either working with people who are doing it and feeling purposeful about it, or have discovered other people working on these things and they're feeling purposeful about it as well. So I'm going to go over the 10 things for you, and we're going to do a little work off the screen today too. In the meantime, I want to make sure that we've set this up properly. Like, why are we doing this anyway? The big question people ask is, why am I on this planet? And so let's kind of break this down. My goal, my dream, my desire for you is to assure that you have some sense of what you love to do and maybe what you don't like to do. Some people have a bigger sense of what they don't like to do than what they love to do. And that you're doing more of what you love than what you don't love. And if that's not the case for you, that we're working on a path for you to get there. Does that make sense? Like, got it. I'm in a situation or a circumstance, whether that's in a job or in a relationship or whatever that is for you, that is really neutral or negative, and I would love to go to somewhere more positive. So that being said, and that frame being laid in terms of what we're going over today, let's kind of break this down. I like to start everything we do by rating ourselves in these 5 areas. Big picture perspective. If we're going to live a full life and go after a life of vibrance, love, reverence, and look back on our life as we reflect back in our later years and say, you know what, I lived a life fully lived. Well, at least at some point in my life I pivoted and then lived a life fully lived. I would just challenge you to rate yourself in these 5 areas. That being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the 5 Ps. So if you've been in our mastery trainings and our trainings before, you know what these Ps are. But I challenge you to just, with fresh eyes, now, in line with what's happening, at least as of this recording, in the world, assess yourself in different areas, all areas of your life, how you're doing in these Ps. The very first P, purpose. And when people say, hey, Char, I don't know what it means to feel purposeful or live purposefully, typically, not always, it's about helping others somehow, and in the context for what I do, helping others grow their business too. So helping others improve their lives, helping others grow their business. And in line of what we're talking about today, it may be just being purposeful, taking care of your kids. Being, a lot of people that I'm working with have to homeschool right now. And so purpose to me is making it through the day and keeping a smile on my face and dealing with, and going after that. And that's fine too. Whatever it is for you, there's no judgment here. This is a safe zone for you. I hope you feel that. It's an honor to be here, by the way, to be here on this journey with you, to help you, to think things through, to give you a new perspective, new insight, and some tactics, and some new ideas to really go after life. And that being said, I'd love for you to take a moment over the last 4 weeks and assess how purposeful have you felt? And whatever that is for you. For me, that means that I'm taking care of what I have, helping others improve their lives, helping others grow their business too. And so for me, purpose for the last 4 weeks, I'm going to give myself a rating, is a 10 plus. We've doubled down on our work in our beautiful mastery community. I've been having 20 to 80 check-in sessions or quick calls or texts, just checking in on people every week, making sure I'm dialing in if people reach out, even a slight hint. And maybe it's sometimes what they're not saying. And I'm like, you know what? Usually you're more abundant with information. Are you doing all right? Is everything okay? And I'm so blessed that I learned that sort of empathetic reading of others from one of the masters, my grandma, my mom's mom. And she was just, she would look at me and she'd know right in an instant, Char, something's going on. And my mom's like that too. Hey, are you okay? Because I sense something might be there for you. And I'm blessed to be able to have that sense. Sometimes people think of that as a curse. I think of that as a blessing. Just to be able to say, you know what, I'm sensing something here. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm sensing something. I'm going to go and ask. So I'd love for you to think about that. Purpose in the last 4 weeks. Next up, passion. How passionate have you felt in the last 4 weeks? And for me, that's an 8. There's been days where I got up and I'm just like kind of freaking out a little bit. Just to be open and honest about this, like just holy moly. Wow. And I felt it pretty heavy from the sense of not being able to go out and do some of the things I like to do to kind of reset, rejuvenate, recharge. We'll talk about that down here when we get into training. And making sure we're clear about what those things are and what we had to do to pivot. Especially when this beautiful park by where the studio is was closed to the public for about just almost a month. And that's my place to just recharge, rejuvenate, get in connection with spirit and nature. And I'm just like, oh, you cut me off at the knees. Ow! So that passion, that passion, some days I had to really do what we teach in high performance and ignite it. And just in case you're unfamiliar with what high performance is, high performance living is the feeling of full engagement, joy, and confidence, consistently over the long term, living from your best self. Say that again. Joy, engagement, confidence. Consistently over the long term, living from your best self. Recognizing we're all human and we may fall off, if you will, or like go down a path or wake up in a mindset and be like, whoa, but I don't have bad days anymore. That's my point here. I have practices in play to course correct. I'm blessed to be a certified high performance coach now almost 8 years. And we go over 48 sessions, 12 on high performance habits, clarity, energy, courage, productivity, necessity, and then another 12 on the charge, the 10 human drives, and then a couple other sessions in there. Then we go over the motivation manifesto, the declarations as we call them. And recently we've been blessed to go over the leadership, 12 sessions of leadership, high performance leadership. They're absolutely amazing. I've been coaching them now for about half a year, and it's just unbelievable the results we're getting for people. Even if they're not leading teams per se, but they're leading their family and leading themselves. The world's highest performers are remarkably influential and purposeful in how they live, love, and lead. So if you have any desire or goal to learn more about high performance and get that clarity and that articulation about who you are at your best self, down below the video, there's always an application to go over and kind of sort out where you're at right now. There's a little rating system in there. I would love to be able to help you. And thing is, I'm pretty busy. So there's a lot of people in our mastery community who are certified high performance coaches as well. And we've got just a bunch of people that are ready and willing to make sure you're taken care of. I just want to make sure you know that. And in today's world, with what's happening right now and this pivot and this behavioral shift that we've all had to go through, a lot of people are really struggling. And it comes around, we'll talk about this too, fear and uncertainty. And the ignition of the emotions and sensation of that. So these things weigh into these P's, right? And for me, I'm being honest with the passionate piece. Next up, number 3, is positive. In the last 4 weeks, how positive have you felt overall? Let me give myself an 8 there. Being real with what I just shared. You know, looking back to waking up and feeling like, whoa, a lot of scarcity, a lot of fear, and a lot of uncertainty in my world. Even though I'm pretty well taken care of in all the realms of what people typically worry about, finances and safety and that kind of stuff. And still, the reality of being human kicks in. But I've got great practices in play. And that's been from this beautiful work I've done over the last 8 years in the high performance world. So I hope you're kind of seeing the connection here as we're really building the case for the mental aspect of what's going on. And then as we kind of spread that out to the reality of what's going on in our lives, I can't wait to go over all these possibilities with you. That being said, let's go ahead and jump into the fourth P, productivity. So how productive have you felt in the last 4 weeks? And for me, that's a 9. Let me frame up productivity from a high performance perspective. Productivity is knowing your life's work, going after that with consistency while handling your responsibilities. So typically the highest performers are working on 3 projects, 3 dreams, 3 goals, no more, maybe less, at a time. And they literally have time blocks in their week for those. And they also have a list of responsibilities, things they must get done every day. And they can or they don't have to be related to their life's work. They're just like the laundry, cleaning, taking the kids to school, or nowadays, homeschooling, going after chores, whatever that would be. And they've got that well documented. And they're using time blocks to their advantage. You follow? So that's a pretty tall order. So I'd love for you to assess in the last 4 weeks, how have you been doing at productivity? Have you been going after your life's work? Have you been handling your responsibilities? Or has it been a Doritos Netflix binge for a couple days? No judgment. Just want to make sure we're being clear about what it looks like. And it's real easy. And I kind of fell into it just a little bit about 2 weeks into this isolation, where I was just like, I'm going to get up a little later. I'm going to do this. I'm like, oh, got to double down. Because I started to see some of my high performance practices slide. And I just want to make sure I'm totally open and honest with you. I had to double back down and get right back on schedule so I could really serve. So for me, productivity, a 9 for the last 4 weeks. And finally, profitability. How profitable have you been at a personal level? And for me, that's like a 10 over the last 4 weeks. What that means is that you're generating revenue in excess of what you're spending, or your what I always call your break even. We'll talk about that. And you're saving for the future, and you're able to have some fun, depending on what you can do during isolation as well. So we have our core expenses covered. We have a fun fund, some money to go out, maybe get that takeout food instead of going to a restaurant, although we're starting to open them up right now. And then you're saving for the future as well, or paying down debt. That's just the easy version of how I like to think about profit for the home person, not the business, but somebody who's just living life, right? So what are you doing there? What's showing up for you? And for me, I'm like I teach this, so I feel like I should be the results expert and the role model here. A lean, clean operating machine. But it took a long time to get here, let me tell you. So that being said, how are you doing on the 5 Ps? Purpose, passion, positivity, productivity, and profit. And so today's conversation is really, I'm aiming for a conversation here and on the profit piece, and then the other piece kind of fall in line with that. And what I mean by that is doing things that can create revenue or income for you or somebody you know, or you can share this with somebody else, that really feel good. The core level of what purpose can be, it can just be feeling good about it. So that being said, let's go ahead and pivot from our perspective to our training. So the very first thing I want to make sure of is that we have a proper mindset here. And this goes back to what I was talking about waking up for me when I had that sensation of, oh my gosh, gloom and doom. And it's not terribly bad for me. It happens every once in a while. But sometimes it's just things that are said, or I'll catch a glimpse of a news headline or something like that, and it simmers in your subconscious or my subconscious overnight. Next thing you wake up, kind of fearful, uncertain, those kind of things. Now we'll talk about practices I have in play in a minute, but a couple things that I want to bring up as points for you. The first, when you think about this, and if you have your notes out, go ahead and if you don't have your notes out, go ahead and get your notes out, is this idea of abundance versus scarcity. So let's write that down. Scarcity mindset versus abundant. It's a weird looking B. Abundant mindset. I'm going to fix that B. So I'd love for you to assess, and I'll give you some illustration here. Do you have a scarce mindset on the average or an abundant mindset? So here's a couple frames for you. One, when a lot of people I've coached and worked with see the world right now, they're like, oh my gosh, I got to save, I got to isolate. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. There are no options. I don't have any talents that I can go out and find a different kind of job, all these kind of things. And I want to bust that myth today, by the way, with some of the things I'm going to share. Abundance mindset is, you know what? Life just showed up. Life dished the world a big one. And I'm going to go through, because I believe in abundance, and I believe there's a lot of opportunity out there, and I'm going to go through and scout that opportunity, find it. And I'm going to just own it. And I've got a belief system, we'll pop to this right now. I believe in my ability, this is very much a high performance theme, to figure things out. So I'd love for you to rate yourself here. That's part of our action steps. Rate yourself 0, you have a full scarcity mindset, to 10, very abundant about what's happening in the world right now. Got it. The world's pivoting. I believe in myself. I believe in my ability to figure things out. I'm going to go after this. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to be in front of this. I'm going to be real with my emotions and feelings as they come up. I'm going to handle them. I'm going to have best practices for that. I'm going to know what it is, depending on the severity of those emotions and feelings, to go out and handle them. So if you're looking for a frame with what I just shared, maybe you don't have that in your life, because I'm going to be teaching high performance. It's kind of like a systems guide for your being, for your psyche. When I'm feeling this level of neutral or negative energy, I do these things. So for me, if you want to illustrate, I go to the beach and walk the beach until I'll walk the beach until my brain starts to come back around. Eventually I connect with my spirit and nature. And I recognize this thing that's overcome me is just, it's shrinking. I viewed it as a mountain. Now it's a little molehill. And it just kind of dissipates. I don't know how to describe it other than that. But I'd love to challenge you on that. What's your practice when you're feeling an overwhelming sensation of negative or neutral? An overwhelming sensation of, oh my gosh, the world's coming down and I'm very fearful. Do you have a practice in play? What is that practice? Have you put it in play? Sometimes this is so funny about me and a lot of people I've coached. They'll say, Char, I know what it is. And when I'm in that mode and mood, that's the last thing I want to do. But I know I need to. So the highest performers, they're like, this is the last thing I want to do right now because I can power through this. But I know I got to. They drop what they're doing and they go do it. So for me, at a less severe level, where I don't have to go to the beach and deal with this, it means going out for a walk in the park, connecting with nature, touching some of the palm fronds down here in Florida, smelling some of the flowers. Right now they're in bloom, so there's plumeria, gardenias, jasmine. Oh, it smells so good. And just connecting with it and just kind of getting rid of it. A lot of times I'm listening to music that's very therapeutic for me. In our weekly wisdom, we've been sharing some of these things to listen to kind of take you on a sensorial experience. So 2 come to mind. Some Kind of Love by The Killers, the song, and Black Beauty by Lana Del Rey. These things really help levelize, get me back in touch with neutral, positive energy from a negative place. Does that make sense? On the other side of it, thinking about, okay, there's a lot of opportunity in the world right now. As much as the news may tell us there isn't, or as these different things and these different feelings that I have are telling me there isn't, there's a lot of opportunity in the world right now. I'm going to go after it. I'm going to get myself in that abundant mindset. So I don't know what that is for you. I don't know where you're at on the scarcity abundance spectrum, if you will. But what it is your top 3 practices to fire up abundance, the belief of abundance. This belief in the fact that I believe in my ability to figure things out, as opposed to, I can't do that. Technology, this isn't going to happen. I can't figure that out. Not going to be able to do. No, can't do, won't do it. Don't even want to hear it. That kind of mentality, right? Second item, a fixed versus growth mindset. And Carol Dweck's book, I think it's Growth Mindset is the name of the book, something like that. She talks a lot about the people who have fixed mindsets versus growth mindsets. So let me give you an illustration. Yoga instructor, 30 years in the business. Story that I've heard from somebody I coached recently was like, I'm not going to go online with my yoga practice. My members are going to have to wait. And he had a pretty heavy duty subscription base of people that would come into a studio and meditate and do yoga practices and these kind of things with him. And he's just like, I'm not going to do that. And he lost, over the course of I think it was 6 weeks, he lost like 2/3 of his subscriber base. Whereas a newer, more growth-oriented, believe in my ability to figure things out, abundant yoga instructor was like, cool, we'll fire up Zoom. We're going to do it through Zoom, guys. And they kept and increased their subscriber base because they're like, got it. We got to pivot to online. Let's go. So I hope that illustration helps. The thing is, the person with the yoga instructor with the fixed mindset, finally went online. Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And did it. And everybody's like, why didn't you do that sooner? And now he's trying to reclaim and regain some of the missing subscribers. You feel that? So take that in a bigger application. Where are you at a fixed level in your mindset versus where are you at a growth level in your mindset? What's showing up for you there? Pretty cool? Whew, such powerful. I got to tell you, like, this isolation and the worldwide pandemic has been the great teller of people who are here and here. And they're seeing results. Like, I live here almost all the time. And when I don't, and I wake up, like I was talking about earlier, I get back there quick. And when people are living here, they're feeling it. They're like, the world, I'm getting chills just telling you this. The world is it. Like, I've had higher level of sales in both of my businesses of new sales. Keep in mind, we do a recurring revenue-based businesses, so I don't need a lot of new sales, if you will. But we've had higher level of new sales in the last 6 weeks than we've had in the last year. And it's not that I'm not taking care of things. If you know me, you know I'm taking care of things. We're doing very well in both businesses, but more new clients are coming. They're like, we got to pivot, we got to shift. I love your energy, let's go. And they're on it. Does that make sense? So it's like an attraction when you live from this place, especially if you're doing work that we do. We're on video and we're putting goodwill in the world and living purposeful in that way. So I just want to make sure as we bring in this conversation online, I can teach you things, but if I go through these things and tell you and show you how these things can work, and I can't do that, waste of time for us. I can go through these things, you're like, you know what, I'll give that a try. Or I'll recommend that to my son or daughter or friend or somebody who's struggling, and we'll go after that. So I'd love for you to take a moment, and I'm going to enjoy a little bit of this delicious coffee while we have a little coffee time together. And let's just kind of assess where we're at in line of what we've shared here. Scarcity versus abundant. I'd love for you to think through and rate yourself. How abundant have I been? 0 to 10. As I've gone into a worldwide shift. And maybe you're watching the replay and the worldwide shift, this isolation is undone and we're getting back to normal life. How are you doing in general? Where are we doing, or how are you doing on the fixed versus growth mindset? Where have you shown fixed mindset tendencies? If you need more qualification, get Carol Dweck's book. 3, do you believe in your ability to figure things out? And some people that happens, yeah, I do in my work, but at home, I'm like, ugh, don't like it. I'd love for you to think about one way in each area to increase that score if you're below an 8. If you rated yourself, you know what, most of the time I'm abundant, but a lot of the time I've got scarcity mindset, so I'm about 6. What's one way to take that 6 to a 7? That being said, the fourth item that I want to make sure we cover, and I touched on this earlier, is when I'm feeling stressed, overwhelmed, fearful, or uncertain, I'm committed to ... So let me tee that up a little bit for you. So many people I've worked with and had quick calls with, texts with, they're like, Char, I'm really freaking out. And I know in your email you say, I do this weekly wisdom email, and it says, if you're having struggles or challenges, reach out. Let me know. I'm here for you. And people are like cashing in on that. And I love it because that means that A, they're reading the email, and B, they feel that from me. And I hope you feel that from me. That's my just way of being on this planet, this beautiful planet we're blessed to be on, is to make sure that I'm here for you, taking care of you, loving on you, challenging you. And just, if you're struggling with something, that you have at least one person you can talk to, doesn't bring judgment, listens, helps you think about and illustrate options to sort of pivot that, whatever that is for you, right? But this question has been one of the big ones. And I've had a lot of people journal to it. When I'm feeling stressed, overwhelmed, fearful, or uncertain, I'm committed to. So a lot of people, what they'll do is develop a punch list. I'm committed to taking that walk. I'm committed to listening to Frank Sinatra. I'm committed to listening to, for me, Lana Del Rey. I'm committed to listening to The Killers, Some Kind of Love. I'm committed to going out and just immersing my mind in a positive podcast, in growth-based learning, right? Sometimes people are like, you know what, when I'm feeling these things, these are what are showing up for me. And these are the things that I need to be aware of. And just being aware of them helps them recognize them. And here's the things that I want to do to offset those things. So for example, when I'm fearing, stressed, overwhelmed, and uncertain, they're fearing things that are related to what we teach in high performance. They're fearing loss. They're fearing process. They're fearing the outcome. Does that make sense? They're fearing like, if this continues, I'm going to lose some things. If this continues, I'm going to have to change what I'm doing. And I'm fearful of that new process. I'm fearful of the outcome of this. And just walking through those 3 types of big fears related to this kind of topic helps them. All right, what do I have to do to be real with this? If I'm going to lose it all, what does that look like? And here's my challenge for you as we step into this work today, is that there is a lot of options. There's still money flowing. There's still commerce being had. You just have to take your being and your mind and put it in to flow, if you will. Like I love, a long time ago, I went to a self-improvement, self-development conference, and the speaker said, picture a big pipe, and that's the gross domestic product, and it's money just flowing by, right? And in that pipe, there's a little door here, and that door is your door into it. And you open that door and you stick your hand in there when the money's flowing, if you want to visualize it, you just want some of that coming your way. And so what we're going to work through today are 10 different areas, some of them are completely different than the others, that are what they've self-processed. The people that I've talked to or worked with or researched have self-processed. They feel purposeful doing this work. Does that make sense? Because they're helping improve the world somehow. That's kind of the precursor to this purpose piece as we were talking about it. So this has been real helpful for a lot of people to do that exercise. And I would challenge you to do it for yourself. I'm committed to, and this should be a positive set of things, like a task list, an action list for you to really overcome it. I gave you some of mine. Taking a walk is what a lot of people say. I'm committed to taking a walk, getting out and taking deep breaths, going for a run, exercise. A lot of people leverage their fitness into this. And they'll self-report, and you may be one of them, that I feel a lot less stress, a lot less overwhelmed, a lot less fearful when I get done with a workout because I'm pumped, I'm ready to roll. They love that. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the next step in our journey today. A couple things I want to frame up before we get into our top 10 list here. First, in line of what I share with you, some people feel purposeful moving around, meaning that some of these things are tasks, things you can do, or you're on the move doing things. Like for the first example we'll show on the big screen is Shipt, S-H-I-P-T. And my beautiful sister-in-law, Amy, has been doing this just part-time on the side, outside of her main job. And she's been making money, but she said something really critical to me as I was asking her about it. Like critical from the perspective of the 5 Ps. She goes, Char, I feel so purposeful doing the grocery shopping, which Shipt is, just so you have a frame, is a service where you go out and shop for people, and they're called shops. You go out and do a shop. And you go to Target and you get some items that they requested, and then you check out, and they have a system. Shipt has a system where you use a card, like a debit card through Shipt, I think is how it works. And basically you go through, you buy the product, you take it to them, they pay a certain amount to have you shop for them, and then they tip you too. And sometimes there's a lot of money in the tips. Does that make sense? So she's self-reported, she feels really purposeful. The beauty of what that job is that you're out moving around, right? Some of these things I'm going to share here are things that you're doing from the power of your laptop or your phone, too. That don't have a lot of movement, meaning you're out not physically moving your body, but they're more mind-based. Does that make sense? So I just want to make sure what it is for you to feel purposeful. Maybe it's a little bit of movement and some mind work. Mind work being that you're just sitting there working with this and your fingers on a phone or on a computer. And there's options here for that. Movement meaning, you know what, I'm doing purposeful work, moving around, helping people improve their lives through like Shipt, as I just provided an example. So I just want to set that stage a little bit for you. I would love for you to assess right now, like does it feel like for you? Do you want a job or a potential income stream where you're doing more movement? So a lot of people that I know, and a lot of people have reported, they're doing side jobs where they're moving around and they're helping people through that. Amy's a great example of Shipt. Next up, you really have to make sure from the profitability piece that you have, and I touched on this earlier, sorted out your B, C, and D. Now, if you haven't taken my training before, the BE is your break even. The amount of money you need to make per month or per year, however you want to lay that out, to assure you're covering your expenses. That could be your mortgage, your lease, or your rent, insurances, groceries, maybe a little bit of money in there for, fund, those kind of things. So making sure that you know what that number is so that you don't run into the problem a lot of people that I've coached have had. I'm doing all this work, but I'm not making ends meet, right? Did you do the strategy and the vision in the front end of that, is what I'll ask them, to figure out what your break even is and then engineer the things you're doing to overcome that, to be in excess of that. Does that make sense? So I always tell people, figure out your break even, times it by 2, and that's your comfort level of income. Let me give you an illustration. If your break even per year is $100,000 in the United States, right? Your comfort level would be $200,000. That presumes that you're not doubling your expenses. A lot of people, when they hit break even, are like, it's time to spend some money, let's go. So they have inflationary expenses. They're like, let's go buy more stuff. But the idea is that you know what your break even is and you're working diligently. This is a high performance principle to reduce that to its essence. Something I've been doing over the last 2 decades and got nailed that in the last decade. If you need help there, let me know. I'm happy to go over it with you. We'll do a check-in call, whatever that is, to assure, and we can look over everything and I'll give you some advice and hints and tips and challenges and those kind of things. So your break even is 2 times. And then a lot of people, the dream level of income, of course, about millions. But really what it is, from what we've shared and what I've done with my exercises with people, it's about 5 times as break even. If your break even is $100K a year and you're making $500,000 a year, $500K, like $400K in the black, yeah, come on. We're rocking it as long as you keep your expenses at the break even level. Does that make sense? So I just want to make sure you've got that idea, because the last thing I'd want to see you do is overcommit yourself on any of these things and it isn't meeting that. Let's just say, let me give you an illustration. If you're doing a certain job and you're working 60 hours a week and it's not even coming close to your break even per week, per month. Does that make sense? You may know people or you may have been in that circumstance in your life. And I just want to make sure you think that through. So my question for you, challenge time, do you know your break even? And if you do, how far in excess of it are you living at this point in your life? And especially in light of where we're at as of this recording, with things being kind of shut down in isolation, depending on the industry you're in, those kind of things. Second, what are you doing to really streamline or trim that break even? And if you know me, you know I reward for participation. So whether you're watching us in our premiere or you're watching the replay, please share below and say, you know what, I know my break even, or I'm trimming my break even, or I'm going to sort out and figure out my break even, and then I'm going to reverse engineer the way I make it. I got to tell you, a lot of people reduce fear, tons of fear, when they're like, this is what we got to make. And they hit that threshold, the 2nd week of the month, even in light of what's happening in the world. And they're like, oh, whew, we're in the clear. And they share it with their significant other or their family. We're like, we cleared this month. Oh, I'm so glad, and they'll say things like, I'm so glad I figured this out early on, and I've been a little more keen on the money side of things, those kind of things. Does that make sense? If that's not you, no judgment at all. Let's just get this done. Let's figure it out for you. And if you want some help there and you're in our mastery community, come into our roundtables. If you want some help there and you're not in our mastery community, then reach out to me. We'll set up a little call, or I'll give you an exercise. I got a couple of videos that I can share with you that will help you think this through. Does that make sense? Really critical before we step into here that you got that sorted. So how can I achieve this? So when you really dial in, purposeful, and you're thinking about, okay, in line of what I'm going to share today, is it more movement-based? Is it more mind-based? What is that for you? And profitable, I know my break even. How can I achieve this purposeful piece of doing what I love? Maybe it's shopping for others, like Amy's doing. And this profitable piece of hitting break even with that, if you need to. You may not need to, because that might be a secondary or third income source for you, right? This is where the magic happens. This is where we step into really bringing some stuff up on the screen. And I have to tell you, as I go into this part of our training today, this is only the tip of the iceberg. This is only things that I always am on the scout for things that are generating real results for people I know, or people that I am associated with that I can almost demonstrate, like that are generating the results without any weird promises. You know, a lot of sales is about promises and so on. So I did a really heavy duty job of parsing these things out for you and trying to work with reputable sources if it wasn't people that I knew directly doing this work. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it, bring the laptop out, and we will rock this together. And I hope this has given you some hope, some, as we'll talk about, abundance, growth, possibility, mindset, and really going after it. That being said, let's go ahead and jump into this. I'm going to move this over to the screen. And we'll bring this up here. And let me, I'll just hide the favorites bar so we have more room. Okay, so the very first thing that we talked through was shipped. And let me just make sure you can see the screen. Yeah, I'm going to move this way just a little bit and so that you can see the list. So we have shipped as our very first item. And as I mentioned, you become a shopper for shipped. Requires you have a car. There are some requirements here. And as you go through, you get paid to shop. You earn up to $22 an hour or more. And from what I've heard and what I've seen, sometimes the tips take you way over that. Not always, but sometimes. And you can apply now. They have a really good training program online, and they make sure that you understand how you can level up within their shopping system. So for example, when you start, from what Amy had shared with me, is that you have the ability to do one shop at a time. As you gain proficiency, you have the ability to shop 2 or 3 at a time. So you can triple your revenue in a certain amount of time. For example, you go into Target, you do one shop for one person. Well, you can do 2 shops for 2 different people. Does that make sense? And then you can go through and deliver those, and you're making more money, you know, under one trip to Target, for example. You follow? So this is a great opportunity for a lot of people right now, because especially with the isolation piece, a lot of people don't want to put themselves at risk. And this is just one avenue. Or Amazon's got its own Prime system, or not a Prime system, but their delivery system, where you can be a part-time delivery person for Amazon. Basically, it's called Amazon Flex, I think is what it's called, where you go in, basically you drive your car to an Amazon warehouse, they load it up and they give you an app, and then you go and deliver and take pictures of the delivery and check them, and then it processes it that way. So there's a lot of opportunity. The beautiful part about this, and I want to make sure I'm bringing this back online for you, is that right now, in line of this worldwide pivot, these are still opportunities that exist. If we were in a true recession or depression, this may not be an opportunity, because in a true recession or depression, across the board, there's economic downshift, right? And so these things are just not available. But right now, there's a lot of this available. Delivery, DoorDash, Grubhub, these kind of things that deliver food from restaurants, they're going nuts right now in this pandemic. So the next item up is Field Agent. And let me write that up here, Field Agent. And what Field Agent is an app that you get where you go through and for up to $12 an hour, you do random tasks. Great example. Big brands are paying you to go see how their products are placed in grocery stores. They want you to walk into a grocery store, literally take a picture of their product and how it's placed, put it into the Field Agent app. Because they really care to make sure that that particular commitment or that particular agreement they have with that place, and they're living into it. Basically, the way it works is you go in and you'll see tasks that are available in your area, and then you have 120 minutes to claim, or you have to claim it, and then you have 120 minutes to execute, like 2 hours. You follow? And then they pay you for that. Field Agent, right here. And it's kind of neat how this works, you know what I mean? It's like, what? That's a thing? I was looking at some of the stuff going, wow, that's cool. Very similar to this is gig walkers. So you want to become a gig walker. For a little spending money, or you want to earn an entire paycheck, gig walk can help. Work when and where you want. You can even start making money today. And this is another kind of situation like that. This is similar to Field Agent in the sense that you're going out and doing tasks. So there's movement involved. Remember we talked about the movement versus mind piece? So I just want to make sure that we're framing this around what we've been teaching. You're seeing just 3 items right now where you can go in, set yourself up, learn, and get into making monies in the short term. You follow? Really critical. You know these things are out there. Isn't this just giving you hope? Even if you're totally fine from the financial piece, maybe somebody you know is struggling. So this particular training I'm going to make available, and we're going to be streaming it all over the place. because I just want to make sure we're doing what we can to give people hope. If you look at the unemployment numbers in the United States alone right now, and some of these people will be coming back online, but it may take a while, and certain companies are just going to be gone, right? We all need new options. We all need new opportunity. So Gig Walk, another one. Next up is QMe. So QMe is where you share your opinion, shop, and search to earn real cash rewards. So with the QMe piece, this is more of an online thing. You earn money and credits. Sometimes they'll pay you via PayPal. Sometimes they'll pay you via like cash credit or gift cards to go through and search. When you're shopping online, they pay you cold hard cash. This particular one, by the way, I was just reviewing my notes here. This particular one, they pay you in cold hard cash, typically through PayPal. And that's how these guys usually pay, is through PayPal, by the way, for the ones that don't pay in gift cards. And so far, everything we've covered, they'll pay you directly through PayPal or direct deposit. Does that make sense? Just want to make sure you're seeing that. This is more of a mind thing, where you're sitting online and doing things versus getting out and doing tasks. You follow? So QMe. And there's a couple apps, and you can sign up, share your opinion, shop, search. There it is. Earn cash, not swag or points. Some of these systems that are online, they'll let you earn credits and points that you can apply or buy things with. You follow? So QMe. To share, to do survey, like, what? It blows my mind. I'm thinking back to my high school self, total side story for you, where I'm at, and some of you know my story. My very first job was, let's think about this for a minute, in Howell, Michigan, working at Consumers Discount. And Consumers Discount was a store where they sold soda, right? And I'm working for literally $3.65 an hour. It tells you what minimum wage was back in the day. And stacking pop soda. And I was like, okay, if I had these opportunities then, I would have been on it, because I was just looking for a paycheck to get gas money for my beast. I had a big 1978 LTD. It was, awesome looking. Baby blue, white leather roof. My grandpa got it in Arizona. Brought it back, had no rust. It was an amazing car. It was a party bus, if you want to call it that. And these things would have been like, what? This is awesome. So that's QMe. Next up is Google Opinion Rewards. So let me follow this up over here. QMe, Google Opinion Rewards, and Gig Walker. Again, more of a mind thing instead of a movement thing. You earn rewards for helping us improve our products and services. So you're basically walking through surveys, and you get rewarded with Google Play or PayPal credit for each one you complete. Everything from opinion polls, hotel reviews, to merchant satisfaction surveys will notify you when a survey is waiting. Another income source. You're dealing with Google. You follow? So far, we've gone over 5. Does anything resonate with you in the sense of what we've been covering? Anything showing up for you? Showing up for somebody you know? Especially if you're in circles of people. They're like, they have no opportunities. There's nobody hiring. There's nothing going on where I'm at. And some of these are, the movement ones are for maybe bigger cities or whatever that would be. But these are all opportunities all over the spectrum. You follow? Good stuff. Cheers to you on this delightful day. Love going over this with you. Just kind of giving people opportunity. Next up is Scribby. So let's go up here to Scribby. And this is where you do transcription and you get paid for it. So this is where you're listening to audio and transcribing and sometimes enhancing the grammar in the transcription. So a lot of people will pair Scribby with Grammarly. I don't know if you've ever heard or seen Grammarly. And Grammarly is where you just throw in some text and it makes it better. It's pretty amazing how it works. So a lot of people using Scribby, especially if they're for helping people with content writing, they'll use Grammarly as a tool to clean up the content, and you get paid for doing that kind of work. Pretty cool. Again, this is not a movement-based thing. This is more of a sitting on your computer kind of thing and going after it. Next up is Clear Voice. Let's see if we can get there. Clear Voice, is like Upwork, Fiverr, manage freelance teams, power your content marketing. Clear Voice is more about content writing. There's a lot of companies out there that, especially bigger brands, that want unique quality content created. meaning you're writing articles and telling a story and these kind of things in those articles. And clear voice, the more you do, the more you get paid. That's sort of their motto. You can go through and become a talent, part of their talent network. And you'll see projects appear, and then you'll write for them, and you'll get paid for them. Does that make sense? So clear voice. There's a lot of opportunity there, and that can be all over the spectrum. With Fiverr, if you've ever heard of Fiverr, it's the word 5 with 2 R's on the end, .com. And you can put yourself up as a freelance in whatever topic area that you feel like you could help the world with. Does that make sense? And I want to make sure we're coming back around to the purposeful piece here and really helping you own that. You follow? So clear voice, another great example of a way to create income. Literally on a laptop. For some, maybe it's an iPad with a keyboard, right? Just some ideas for you. The next one is one I would have jumped on early in my life. Going back to my 16-year-old self working at Consumers Discount Center. User testing. Real-time feedback on user interface design from real customers. And you get to be somebody who gets paid to test if that's your desire. So you get paid to test, you go here, click on that button. And in usertesting.com, top brands want to hear from you. You get paid to share your opinions and experiences to make things you care about better. And so, ties to purpose, right? Usertesting.com. It's kind of cool because from what I've read and what I've seen is that they're monitoring facial expressions to see where you get confused. They want you to note, hey, you know what, when I went to this particular page, this transition was confusing. This didn't make sense to me, this kind of thing. And you're reporting back to them. And a lot of people love that experience. Well, they love it for a couple reasons. One, they can do that out of the comfort of their own home, especially in isolation. Two, they love to make things better, right? That purposeful piece to improve the world somehow. And this user testing, it's giving me chills just talking about this. I get so excited about it. It's like something that will help you there. You follow? It's pretty powerful. Next up is Zazzle.com, where you can go through and create your own marketplace. You can create things that you can share. So Zazzle is like a place where you can create t-shirt memes all the way through. My cousin is doing wedding invitations and making, from what I understand, over break even doing it. And she's been doing that for multiple years now, just in her Zazzle marketplace. So Zazzle is a really good place if you're feeling creative and want to sell things online, right? Or make your own creations. So they have an avenue for you to create things in here, or you can go through and create your own things and put them in here. You follow? And so my cousin has wedding invitations, the whole shebang for a wedding, right? The invitation, the cards on the tables, everything in the same theme. And she's built just tons of them. And people, even up till now, where the isolations happen, she's cut her sales. Her sales have cut, I want to say it was over half or maybe 3/4. But she's reinventing that because she knows that'll come back. It's just a matter of sitting it out right now. But she's living smartly from the perspective of having well over, padding, if you will, and savings and so on, from what I understand. And that's the piece. But I just want to make sure you know this is an option. You can go out and create. So this really hits the note for people who want to create things to make other people's lives better. You see how all these things, trying to drive home the purposeful piece for you, are all mechanisms and ways that you or somebody you know or a friend or whoever it is that's struggling has opportunity in a world where it might seem dark, like there is no opportunity. The last thing, and I wanted to make sure I covered this, is affiliate income. And affiliate income is where you go through, this is Commission Junction, one of the biggest affiliate networks, where you go through and you sell things for others, like online programs, products, things like that. Amazon affiliate is another one, where if you recommend anything to Amazon, you typically do it on a blog post or on a web page, and they click on your link, you get a commission on that through Amazon. You follow? So the simple idea is that a great example of one of my affiliate links, heavily linked, is inside my blog, my business blog, the Studio in the Sky tour, where I link to all the cameras, the camera I'm looking at right now to see your beautiful eyes, all the way down through here. Everything in here is linked to Amazon or other places that I get an affiliate commission, basically. So I've made anywhere from a few $100 a month to $50 a month. People just clicking on my links. And that's a big part of the world today, is affiliate commission-based income. Now, if you're in our mastery community, you know we have an affiliate program. And I would challenge you, in any of the affiliate work you do, if that's a desire for you, again, purposeful, helping people of the world, that you see if you can get into, the way we've structured it, a recurring revenue stream. So let me just kind of paint the frame. At full price, our mastery community membership is $297 a month. And you get 2 trainings a month, you get Q&A time with me after those trainings. We'll have those today. And then we have our coaching the last Wednesday of the month. And after that, we have another Q&A. And right now, because of isolation, I'm doing more Zoom roundtables. Our mastery community members have access to that too, right? So for $297 a month, you get all this value. If you refer somebody into our mastery community and you are an active member and they become an active member, you get 20% of that referral for the life of their subscription as long as you remain an active member. So it doesn't take much for us to do the math. $297 a month times, let's just say 12 months out of the year times 20%. That's about $712 a year for one referral. And I pay, and the reason I do it this way, let's just say you did 5 referrals. That's $3,500 a year for 5 referrals into the mastery community. That's your commission on it. You only had to send them there once. Why am I doing this? Because I'm a strong believer in what I teach in our Business Internet Mastery Training of level 3 income. That's how I was able to retire at the age of 29, is recurring revenue generated consistently, preferably passive, is the key to personal freedom. You follow? Let's just say, figuratively, that you brought 50 people in. And that's 35 grand a year, right? It just blows my mind how this scales. Let's say you brought 100, 72. Let's say you brought, at the mastery community level, you could only bring in, because we have a limit on how many people you can bring in. But let's just say there was no limit, and you brought 250. It's $178K a year. And it's just set and forget. You follow? I just want to make sure you see there's a lot of opportunity. And when you think about what it takes to do an affiliate campaign or a link, a lot of times it's with people you already know. You know, hey, you know what? Go to my page. I talk about some of the things that I use or the products that I use on Amazon the most and why they're important to me. And you create a little post about it. And then when they click, boom, you get credit for what they've purchased through your links, but also credit for what else they purchased. One time I was looking over my affiliate report. They don't tell you who bought what, but they tell you what was bought. And somebody bought a book that I recommended, and they bought a transfer case, which is a transmission, like it's in the transmission or near the transmission of a car, for a Dodge minivan for like $500 through Amazon Auto. And I made whatever the commission was, like $50 or maybe it was $30. I don't remember exactly what the number was. But I made a ton of money on this thing that I didn't even recommend. You follow? Just want to make sure we're building the case for you. And we're going after this. You follow? Really powerful stuff. That being said, I hope with everything we've covered today that you have felt a new sense of hope. We really tried in our training today to go after it from the mindset perspective and to really own this from the idea of living into the 5 Ps, reinventing, going after new behaviors, new thoughts, new kinds of things. Talked a lot about the scarcity versus abundant mindset, where you are on that spectrum, the fixed versus growth mindset. We gave you that example of the yoga teachers. Fixed mindset, lost business. Is it hurting? Growth mindset? No. And the energy of that person brought in more people. I believe in my ability to figure things out. Is that your life theme? Do you have to work to get there? Do you have, when you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, fearful, or uncertain, what are you committed to pop that? Remember we talked about 3 kinds of pain. Fear of loss, fear of process, fear of outcome. What are you afraid you're going to lose? Is the process going to be too hard? The outcome? Is the grass going to be as green as you think it is? What's going on there for you? Next, we went through purposeful, profitable, and how can you achieve this? Then we gave you examples: Shipped, Field Agent, GigWalk, QMe, Google Opinion Rewards, Scribby, ClearVoice, user testing, Zazzle, affiliate, income. If you're serious about productivity, my challenge for you as you think this through is to spend, let's say, half an hour of time block Do your research on each of these. Pick 3 of them that you would even be willing to give a try, and then schedule a time block 1 hour for each to fill everything out, see what you need to do, and go after it. See what kind of new behaviors and habits and actions you can take towards creating more revenue. You follow? This is the high performance. So, action list. Let's go ahead and jump right into our action list. First, rate yourself 0 to 10 in the 3 areas. How are you doing? 0 to 10 on how abundant you are. 0 to 10 on how growth mindset is that your prominent, dominant mindset. 0 to 10 on our ability to figure things out. Where is it fading? Next up, journal and think through number 4. Take some time. I would challenge you to get a Word document out, copy that into the top, and just go to town. I would even challenge you to open journal to it. That means go over it today. Spend 5 minutes just answering it. Come back to it tomorrow. Come back to it the next day. Review it on Sunday, like a week from this Sunday, to really go over it all and say, oh my gosh, these are things that are really powerful. Then take action on them. When you're starting to feel a little bit of it, even just a small smidge of any of these things, let me go out, do some yoga. Let me go for that walk. Let me get back connected to nature. Let me take a walk on the beach. Whatever that is for you. What feels more purposeful to you? Would challenge you as you think through this and these options. And I hope I did a good job kind of laying the groundwork for this. What's purposeful and profitable? And how do we measure that profitability? Like if we're going to do field agent, what does it take to get to break even? Is that even a possibility? What do I got to trim in here to get break even lower? Or what do I got to add on? And how am I going to do it without busting all my time, right? Time's a limiting resource. Number 4, lay out your break even, comfort, and dream levels of income. If you need more direction there, please let me know. If you're in our mastery community, I do that exercise in our starting from scratch business internet mastery training to lay out break even, comfort, dream. I talk about the 3 levels of income there too, to really help you figure that out. And finally, pick 3 to research and step into one of them. I already laid the frame for that. Pick 3 of these guys. Do the research on them. What resonated as I just kind of skimmed the surface of these for you? And then pick 1 and try it. Cool? That being said, I hope this training today has helped you open your eyes to some possibilities that are out there. Again, we just touched the tip of the iceberg with this stuff. And that you're really working to help either yourself or those you love, care for, and serve have a more abundant, growth-oriented mindset, that you've got good coping mechanisms in play when the reality of isolation can hit, the psychology of that you're going through and being clear about, okay, if I got to pivot, here's what I'm going to do that's semi-purposeful and profitable, and I know what that means for me. That you have real options, 10 of them. I hope we hit the spectrum for you there. And you got a clear action list. Thank you so much. My job on this beautiful planet is, as you know, to help you live more purposefully, more passionately, more positively, more productively, and more profitably. And I think we crushed it today. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Take care. We rocked it.